occurs to me that around this time of year, every single reviewer in the world decides to do a cap up on the best games and the worst games they've reviewed this year. So I thought I might as well do the same. Okay, the best game I've reviewed this year is Tron Evolution, but unfortunately, the worst game I've reviewed this year is Tron Evolution. Well, what the fuck do you expect? I've only reviewed one game this year. Alright, anyway, Case West. Okay, so to put this review in perspective, I thought I'd start with a little metaphor. Dead Rising 1 was a hill leading to doom. Nothing more, nothing less. When Dead Rising 2 was announced, it began sliding down this hill very fast, when luckily along came a little game called Case Zero. Case Zero was set up as a prequel to Dead Rising 2, mainly to introduce the new gameplay mechanics and to introduce the new main character, Chuck Green. And you gotta understand, I was extremely skeptical about Dead Rising 2. I mean, I only just about liked Dead Rising 1, and that was only because I was quite young at the time, and, blood, woo! But Case Zero was only about 400 Microsoft points, and I already had those on my console, so I thought, why not? I'll give it its chance. This was the game that suckered me in, and I am so glad it did. Dead Rising 2 turned out to be an incredible game. I played it more than I've played any other game this year, and it's just fun, genuinely fun. Which unfortunately means I have to review Case West. I was really excited. I thought, oh yay, we get to see what happens to Chuck Green, maybe leading up to a sequel. I should probably start off by explaining that Case West, for those of you who don't know, Case West was set up as a sequel, meant to follow on from Dead Rising 2, as most of us assumed it would follow on from Dead Rising 2's S ending, which is, assumably the true ending, but no. Case West actually follows on from the A ending, which I won't say because, spoilers. To any of you who've actually completed it on S or A, you'll understand, what the fuck, why do it from an ending? Oh, yeah, spoilers. But overlooking the obvious idiocy in design there, to give a summary of Case West, Chuck Green gets rescued by Frank West. There's not much other plot going on. They have a little romp about in a military complex. Frank says things, Chuck says things. You meet one, maybe two new characters who are going to be in the sequel. They say next to nothing. You kill some zombies. You have a lot less weapons than you did in Dead Rising 2. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And it costs double what Case Zero costs. I mean, seriously. Case Zero, as I said, costs 400. This costs 800. For those of you who aren't familiar, 800 is £8.50. I'm not sure how much that is in dollars. 400 is £4.50. I mean, let's call it a fiver and a tenner. A fiver seems so much less to spend on a little game than a tenner. I also should point out, Case West is, to my knowledge, shorter than Case Zero, but I did replay Case Zero, and I have no intentions of playing Case West, as I managed to get ending A first time round, and I don't really see how you could screw it up apart from not meeting your deadlines, which is kind of impossible to do as you don't have a lot else to do in between missions. I mean, you can rescue survivors, but it's a lot different from any Dead Rising game. You don't actually rescue them, you just have to save them, which means just doing what they say and then they run off to safety. I only encountered about 3 survivors in my playthrough, and I spent about, no joke, about 10 minutes doing something for each of them, and one of the survivors only took me about 2 minutes, but he led me to another survivor. None of which was fun. It was mostly just chasing things around. I mean, one survivor told me to go get him an assault rifle, so I did. I already had one on me. It was just, there's no fun in giving a survivor your weapon. Just as a reference, anybody who completed Dead Rising 2 was probably around level 50 when they completed it. You start off at level 40 in this. You start off with nearly all your best abilities. It's just, there's no challenge in the game, and it's so short. I mean, for 10 quid, or £8.50, or however many dollars, it took me about an hour and a half to complete. The only high point of the game is the fact that Chuck and Frank actually have some humorous dialogue with each other. I would like to see Dead Rising 3 featuring them both, possibly both as playable characters in single player, because I would have much rather to have played as Frank, even though I preferred Chuck. It's just, come on, he's covered wars. So, pros, there's some fairly humorous dialogue. If you are very, very desperate for a little bit more Dead Rising, I guess this is it. There are one or two interesting new weapons, but mostly old weapons. Okay, cons, it's very short. It costs double what Case Zero costs, and it's only about half as good as Case Zero. It's got no interest in boss fights. The survivors are terrible. In summary, do not buy this game unless you are absolutely desperate. I'd give it a 2 out of 5, and that's me being extremely generous. Do not waste your money on this game. Alright, see you next time.